Good evening, my fellow Americans, and welcome back to United States Cup. We've got yet another match coming at you all in this fine evening, 10:30 p.m. for both of these two teams here. Carolina versus Massachusetts, seed number 5 versus seed number 11. Coming at you in this matchup, I am Chillier Parrot, joined by Dio. I am unfamiliar if this matchup has happened before in United States Cup, but Massachusetts making a run that we haven't seen for a couple of years, and Carolina sort of trying to work at their ability of a 5th seed to sort of push their way back up into that top 6 here this year. So a lot hanging on the line. I will be joined this evening by Dio, who I will give some graces to, maybe taking over for us as streamer momentarily.
Yeah, I will be probably taking over as streamer once I have everything set up. So I will be setting things up while we're doing the warm-ups. So enjoy the warm-ups, everyone, because I will not be. Yeah, noted American Dio. I am literally a citizen. Thank you very much. And I coming out for USA States Cup. This is a fun one. I've been casting by coincidence a lot of Massachusetts matchups. They just happen to play at normal-ish times of the day, and that makes it very easy for me to cast them. And so I've had the pleasure of kind of watching this run unfold in real time. They've had some really, really solid stuff going on with this roster. I think especially on their free mods, they have been very, very strong because the relative strengths of their individual players are similar in terms of map style, different in terms of mod combinations. And that works very, very well for them.
Absolutely, and they've had a pretty decent run at it too. Despite being an 11th seed overall, we sort of see teams fluctuate up and down based on their perceived seeding on any given weekend. Massachusetts is one of the few teams in this round that actually was playing in the losers bracket already last week. I believe of the teams currently still remaining in the tournament, they were the only one who played through a losers bracket match, which means that they had to play twice the maps that everyone else did, and still ended up with a win-loss of 12-4 on map wins to drops there. And that's pretty impressive if you're looking at an 11th seed overall, going up against some very, very strong teams. Of course, they had to play against Connecticut, who is far better than 24th seed overall. And then they played a match against Stateless where they only dropped 1 point. So the majority against that Connecticut roster there. Carolina, not an easy matchup for them last week by any means as well. New York, our 5th seed, was their matchup, and they're, of course, our reigning champions, prior year winners. And that 4th seed does not tell the entire story of what that New York roster is capable of. I should mind you as well that last week's New York missing Taquito for that 6-2 finish as well. So Carolina was fighting an uphill battle with New York minus their best player. Now going up against Massachusetts, the stats sort of change in their favor. They were 8th overall on the weekend, but that's playing 8 maps to Massachusetts' 16 maps on the weekend, where they were 12th overall, performance score 1.035 to Carolina's 1.132. So a lot that could happen on a more difficult pool in semifinals.
Yeah, exactly. They have had kind of an interesting run as well. And I think for both of these teams, we're going to start to see them tested a little bit more this round. The skill cap, I think, can honestly work decently for both of these teams. You have a couple of people on both of these squads who can really turn up the heat when it does get a little bit more difficult in terms of the map pool. And that, to me, just makes this match even more interesting because on paper, you look at Carolina and you think, yeah, this roster is going to be very, very strong. They're seed number 5 overall. They've been in this position a lot before, but this Massachusetts roster has really pulled through when it's mattered so far. And they have had scores to match a lot of the better teams in the tournament so far in their losers bracket run. So I'm really interested to see how well they're going to be able to keep up the momentum they've had in the last couple of weeks.
My eyes in this match are really on those carry level players. When you start to push it up to semifinals here, especially on some of these more difficult slots, it is going to make a large difference in your top end of the roster when playing through in some of these early picks. And last week for Carolina, that was Bochi Cookie. That was 6 maps played out of the 8 total from that match, and 13th overall on the weekend. The thing for Carolina that you have to question for them beyond that point is, where is their next best player? Well, if you look at the stats, unfortunately for them, it's all the way down at 33 overall. It's Whooper Fan 1, a pretty significant gap between the top of that roster and the next closest player. Meanwhile, Massachusetts with Rykik up at 21, Cappy at 29, pretty close down, and a Luke K, who had a bit of a rougher week overall, had to play 10 maps out of the combined for Massachusetts and still put 40th overall. So Massachusetts more condensed at the top of the performance scores than Carolina is at that 5th seed overall, and those carry performances are going to need to come out from them today to make that difference. So I'm looking at Rykik, I'm looking at Bochi Cookie. For Carolina, they need the remainder of their roster to step up. Thank You had a pretty rough week last week, an uncharacteristically rough week last week, and they're really hoping for that to become a major turning point for them in a harder pool. If we look at the semifinal stats for this weekend already, there has been a couple of matches that we've had the pleasure of watching early on the Saturday side here, and some good scores across the board. We've got a couple full combos on a few maps in the pool, as to be expected, especially in semifinals with the caliber of some of these teams. We've also got some pretty low scores across the board on a few slots in the pool that I don't think one would usually expect. Highest score on fucking Friday right now with Nomad 5 is 617k. Or 651k. That's a pretty accessible map and a fairly low score on it. Hard Rock 2, very difficult precision map. CS 9.1 overall. Tough, and that's a 581k is the best score of the weekend right now. As well as Base Drop Freak sitting in the mid 500k. So the Hard Rock pool, one of the more difficult overall on the weekend right now. Not looking at anything too impressive. Actually, Eddie did just best that with the Oregon match that did just take place. We're getting some updates on the scores as they come through here. But still, I would say 697k or 651k being on the lower end of scores this weekend for accessible maps is a bit of a rough margin for a semifinals pool. So this is a bit harder than it leads on. And as we get through the first warm-up, we look for the second one for these two teams here. I don't actually know whose warm-up it was coming out first from that. To go over a little bit of the history of these two teams while we're at it, because not every matchup ends up being, legacy teams in USC. We've got a lot of states that come out here that are new to the tournament, a lot of states that have been in for a while. Massachusetts and Carolina here, two teams that we have had the great pleasure of seeing since the inception of the United States Cup, tracking all the way back to 2017, the first official iteration of the tournament. Bochi Cookie, otherwise known as Will Cookie as of before last year, the longest standing player in the history of United States Cup, as far as I'm concerned, for captaincies and appearances overall. All 10 iterations, captained 8 of those 10 iterations, matched only by Minus on Maryland for 10 iterations overall. So a lot of long-standing players existing. Cappy, the next closest in this match, going to be showing up as Elsie. 8 iterations of United States Cup played. The majority of those being for Team Florida, a new addition to the Massachusetts roster. She has only been playing since 2025. So this is their second year playing in United States Cup for Massachusetts, a team that also has some long history back to 2017. More captain switches for Massachusetts. 3 captain switches overall since the inception of the team, compared to Carolina with only 2 different captains. 3 now this year, with Rhythmic RS taking over as the captain. So tied up there. A decently similar roster for both teams this year, but definitely not without their switches. 3 roster swaps this year for Carolina. Zerkala, Daniel City, also known as Abba, subbing out this year. And Johto, departing from the roster, will be joined by Bonk, B-O-N-C, not the other Bonk from Michigan. Hobbs 2, and Pull Out Couch will be joining Carolina on their roster this time around. So about half the roster swapping out for them. Massachusetts this year also not without their swaps in roster. Another team with 3 switches this year. Sharkosity, Micro, and Lily Bananas departing from the Massachusetts roster this time around. Ethan John, Evernight, and Zelfs popping in for them this year. So pretty linear switches, some improvements across the board on both sides. But either way, we're going to be seeing some close matchups on these early few picks here. I'm interested in where they go in these early onset here. It is the Hard Rock 2 and the Hidden 3 band by Massachusetts, so the super precision on the Hard Rock 2. Not going to take any chances against Mochi Cookie on that map. If I'm Massachusetts, I agree. And then that Hidden 3, that is just pure reading. Massachusetts, a team that traditionally in the past did have a pretty solid reading lineup, you know, back with the, you know, Vector and Will Stetson and a lot of those types of players. Does not have that same roster these days, and will not be the case. They will be getting rid of the Hidden against Mochi Cookie, and likewise with the reading roster on Carolina. Carolina getting rid of Vlirmos, a very good map for Massachusetts overall. That aim control tech sort of style map, solid for a player like Luke K and the remainder of that roster. I imagine LC very good at that map as well. And that second ban from Carolina going to be super luminal. So the Hidden ban, the Flow Aim, an interesting one to come out here. Maybe just not super confident against that, against the Evernight Luke K combo. And then Cappy, of course, LC, going to be the strongest performer, I think, on that Flow Aim Hidden streams. So bans that make sense from both sides here as we look for Massachusetts' first pick.
Okay, and
Stream
I have
ready.
good news. I have good news. We are basically ready at this point in time. I do need to hold on, let me switch profile and make sure that everything is ready to go. But we are just about ready to swap streams real quick as we just about get into the first pick here. So I'm gonna give it just a second here, and then we should be able to get everything switched over.
As we look into the starting of this match, it is going to be the mechanics for Massachusetts. It's going to be Rat Race coming out from the No Mod 3. Known No Mod 3 skill set, Stream Mechanics Aim. Pretty easy map for the majority of it. I'd say for about 80% of this map, it's free combo. Then you've got some pretty big 1-2 linear jumps that are very easy to miss on. I think that's where we're going to be seeing our first breaks from both teams here. And then, of course, it's the stream section. That's going to be the majority of combo breaks here. This is the type of map where if we do see anyone comboing through into that stream section, that's going to be the first major miss point. But there's really nothing to break on before that aim section and stream section in this map. So any unfortunate combo breaks in the early part of this map could spell certain doom for one of these two teams here. There is really a whole lot riding on those entry combos here. We've seen this map played once this weekend between Nevada and Oregon, and we did sort of see exactly what I'm describing here, those 500 to 600k scores across the board, everyone basically comboing until that choke point, and it was just Nevada coming out on top on that with the higher end 500k scores.
All right, and we are going to be swapping streams very quickly here. So we're going to go ahead and get that swap done with. We'll go offline and then be back in just a moment. So bear with us. If it does go offline for you, just go ahead and restart really quickly. We'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you to our previous streamer, Keys, for covering for us as we navigate this these swaps this evening. Shout out to Dio for the last minute stream setup.
I may or may not have been setting up Tosu this entire time.
Yeah,
while Chillier was yapping through the warm-ups.
It's fine. Everything's covered. We're good.
Yeah.
Oh, and the no file directory stat. What is that for?
What is that for?
What is that for? I'm confused.
I don't know. Are those the names? Those are the names. Okay.
Oh.
I see. Okay. That's new. There we go. Okay. We're good to go.
Sweet.
We've got everything. All right. Early miss there from Evernight as well. And map 1, we're into Enter Shikari Rat Race. You were talking about a bit about this, but this is kind of a spiky map. There's a little bit of difficulty here in the start in the first half, but a lot of the difficulty comes during some really, really high intensity aim and burst sections in this map.
Yeah, this intro section is about as standard mechanics as you can get. There's some bursts, it's mostly aim, it's nothing too complicated. The sliders aren't long, the jumps aren't that big. If you can, hit this BPM, there's really not going to be a whole lot of issues. It is that break section, and it's Massachusetts with yet another break in this beginning section, not the place you can be finding these misses. Carolina is what we expect out of teams in this early onset here, and unfortunately for them, it's thank you to find the first break yet again. Last week was a pretty rough week for Rhythmic RS, and Carolina hoping that that is not going to be the case this week. That stream section going to make all the difference here now with that linear before it.
It's only a 90k score difference as well, and you have big enough combo on the side of Massachusetts that Carolina, if they fumble this, can absolutely give it away. It's only a 100,000 score lead, so this is by no means a map that's over in favor of either of these teams. That said, Wooperfan and Bonk still holding on to the double FC, so definitely better for Carolina at the moment than it is for Massachusetts. Rykik, the only matching FC on their side. But both of these teams, I mean, just looking very comfortable. 99, 98 AC for everybody in the lobby. So everyone should be pretty comfortable. Here we go into one of these spiky sections. Here's the big aim. Bonk finds the first miss. There goes Evernight to match. It's Rykik and Wooperfan still holding on to the only combos. Daitaku Helios and Thank You also missing. And now you've just got Rykik and Wooperfan. All eyes on the 2 full combos left in the lobby.
Here we go. It's the stream section. It's Wooperfan to break. Rykik needs to FC this section to hold it. There's 50s, but he controls the aim. He hits the spike. There's going to be one more stream after this. That's all Rykik needs to do. He's just got to make it to this one, and he does. Rykik hits the stream, and Massachusetts pulls the lead back. What a combo.
Yeah, what a play from Rykik. Absolutely clutch. Pulls out the full combo when his team needs him to. As you said, Chillier, if he doesn't combo that section, at best it's going to be close. They probably lose it. So Rykik here, the score difference is going to be far more than just a small one in favor of Massachusetts with this full combo, but absolutely needed to clutch out and hold that FC through the most difficult part of the map, and does. Rykik has been the key player for this Massachusetts roster.
What a carry from Rykik. 900k, the highest score in the lobby by the better part of 300,000 there. And an unfortunate loss for Carolina in a map that it looked like they were going to be pretty infallible on through that first section. And it once again is that top performer for Massachusetts to come out. This is something that Massachusetts struggled with last week. When Rykik and Luke K were not performing, they had a very rough time taking maps home. If you've got Rykik and potentially Luke K for some of his picks later on in this pool playing well early, this becomes an entirely different match, and Massachusetts infinitely increases their strength and pickability in this pool. Now, to Carolina's credit, that was Massachusetts' pick. They did a great job of holding them off as long as possible, and Massachusetts, to be honest, looked a little shaky. Without Rykik, they lost that map. Their duo on the other side was not giving him much help. So there's a lot of breathing room that Carolina is going to be given should Massachusetts not figure out their future picks or catch a break on Rykik's combo like they just did. And I'm interested to see what they end up going for first. As we get everything kind of swapped over here.
Yeah, there are still, unfortunately, fixes to be made, so...
Tosu is the perfect program.
Yeah, it will be, it's fine, don't worry about it.
Well, Carminations for Carolina. Unsurprising to anyone, Carolina picking out the reading-esque aim control hidden from Krissa here. This is one of the more difficult maps in the pool if you're not confident on this skill set. Highest team score of the weekend on this right now, Oregon, with just over 2 million off the back of an absolutely stellar 925k from Schwartz and a 710k from Boshi, with 99.57, might I add. So there's a hell of a lot to live up to for these two teams. Massachusetts, I'm expecting Ethan, John, Cappy, and then Luke K, I would imagine. LC's been a really big player for Massachusetts on these hidden slots. She is a big fan of the hidden slots, especially last week's. And if that continues into this time around, that's going to be a big help for them. Luke K was originally brought onto the Massachusetts roster a few years ago as a hidden aim player. Doesn't quite play it as much these days, but still very, very strong overall. And they've got a hell of a lot to live up to on both sides here to catch up with that score from Oregon earlier today. 2 million is the barrier to number 1. Nevada, the lowest of the weekend on the other side of things with a 1 million team score, so we're covering the full spectrum. And there it is, the predicted roster for Massachusetts. Ethan, John, Daitaku, Helios, Luke K, and Elsie. It's going to be thank you, Bochi Cookie, pull out couch for Carolina. Bochi Cookie, the player that I'm looking for on Carolina right now. Rhythmic RS, again, he's been shaky in these matches thus far for Carolina. There has not been the strength that we expect out of them so far. And this is the turnaround they're going to need at this point. Pull out couch has looked pretty good on the hiddens as well. So Carolina with at least 2 and hoping for that third to take their first pick here. But this is not a map you can mess around with against Massachusetts. They will steal this away with this roster if you don't keep up the performance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw them already with... You know what? I'll just kind of call it what it is. It's the skill cap to be able to have one player just pop off on a map and carry you. And if you have that one player who can do that, then you can be pretty secure on a lot of picks when it comes to these later stage pools. There's definitely that for Carolina. You look to thank you. You look to Bocce Cookie on the hidden maps in particular. You look to, I mean, these higher seeded teams have a lot of skill cap because they are filled with higher ranked players, right? Pull out couch as well. Is the third highest ranked player on the team. So they definitely have the skill cap to be able to do this. The flip side is you have players like Luke, players like Elsie, who have skill cap in abundance on these hidden picks as well. That was really, really rough for Massachusetts, though, as I say that. And Ethan John missing afterwards is going to cement their fate as the three-way breaking team multiple times before this first KI time. Bocce Cookie's still on the FC. And this is why you see Massachusetts oftentimes ban out the hidden maps, because, yeah, you have some solid players for these more gimmick-focused maps on the side of Massachusetts, but as a full 3-player roster, often they come up short, and Bocce Cookie on the other side here is really, really comfortable. Does finally find the miss, but 99.6 accuracy, 70,000 score lead. Doesn't sound like much, but it's a huge percentage of the team scores right now.
It is. That break from Massachusetts going to throw that back over to favor, and there's, again, a miss from Luke K. Unfortunately, not the combos necessary from Massachusetts. That act from Luke K. actually dropping a full percentage on that pattern. Meanwhile, Bocce Cookie maintaining that 99.66, and that's the big difference right now. That accuracy is such a boost on score V2. Ethan John does through-hold that pattern alongside Bocce Cookie, however, so there is an opportunity for Massachusetts to keep this within striking distance. The unfortunate part is that confidence that we really would like to see out of LZ and Luke K is just not coming through. They need a hell of a lot more help here. And there goes Ethan John. And Carolina, as to be expected, is looking all too good on this hidden one.
Yeah, they are looking really, really solid on this. I mean, the two supporting scores from Thank You and Pullout Couch are both around 200K. That is kind of middle of the playing field for Massachusetts, in between Ethan John and Elsie, about at what Daitaku Helios is able to put up, what Luke is able to do. The huge score difference here is just coming from Bocce Cookie. 99.6 accuracy still. Has recovered up to 600 combo now just on the one miss. And again, it is the one player for the winning team pulling off a big skill cap pop-off play. That is all you need in the semifinals.
This is a great score out of Bocce Cookie. It cannot be understated that this map is extremely difficult if you are not proficient with this lower approach rating style of aim. It's an entirely different skill set from being good at reading maps, and Bocce Cookie, covering all sides of the hidden spectrum here, is going to be the one to come out on top. And well, Dio, we talked about solo carries for Massachusetts. Carolina said we can do that. We have one of those too, as a 99.7% 700K comes out of the ending from Bocce Cookie, and what a carry performance. That is the majority of the team score, and not out of the realm of possibility for a 1v3 without that early miss.
No, definitely not. That was fantastic stuff from them. And yeah, a really solidly done job tying things up here for Carolina as we move now into the next pick for Massachusetts. At this point, if you're Carolina, I almost really dislike the Hidden 2 ban, just because it does feel like Massachusetts probably would have wanted to ban that regardless. There's now, I think, some solid chances for Massachusetts to capitalize on the sheer amount of mechanics left up in this pool. Things like Major Demon, things like... It's not mechanics, but I think some of their strongest players and some of their strongest maps have been free mod all tournament long for what we were talking about earlier. You know, you have Rykick, this incredible skill cap player who can either go in on the hard rock or take no mod if somebody else is willing to tank. And then Elsie, who can drop really, really solid scores on Hidden, especially on a flow aim focused map like the free mod 4 this week. You have a couple of hard rocks left open that can be decent for this Massachusetts roster as well. And at the end of it all, you've still got maps like Nomad 5 left up that I think are decent for them. They are not necessarily an aim roster, but I think work better than some of the more tech gimmick-focused picks left in the pool as well.
Yeah, I think that aim pool actually becomes a little bit more viable for Massachusetts with the way that players like Thank You, Rhythmic RS have been playing for Carolina thus far. A lot of inconsistencies, you know, and despite the skill cap from Rhythmic RS, they still reign true in semifinals we've seen on these first few picks here. And that's going to be a big barrier for Carolina to picking some of these more difficult picks where Massachusetts maybe runs with a more consistent roster on their confident maps. And as this Hard Rock 3 comes out here, they are going to sort of maintain into that flow aim style of map this time around. So we went from roughly flow aimed Rat Race, more mechanics favored, to flow aim Hard Rock 3, but more tech favored. So you've got some doubles, you've got some cut patterns on here. And this is actually, you know, despite how it looks to play, it looks a lot more simplistic than it is. This is a fairly high skill cap favored map for Hard Rock. There's a lot of control necessary for this map. There's a lot of alternate spacing snaps and just general strain across the entire thing. And like you were saying earlier, for Massachusetts, we're looking at the top end of that roster for this sort of pick. We're looking at Rykick to really be that big scorer, because for Carolina, traditionally, that would be Rhythmic RS, and it just hasn't been. Whooper Fan's been the one to have to take up that mantle.
Yeah, exactly. And if you are rooting for Massachusetts, I think this is a very, very good pick for Rykick. At a time, he would have been kind of out of his depth on a map like this, would not have had the skill cap on this skill in particular to be able to do well on this map, but has really diversified as of recent and become very, very strong at pretty much all kinds of flow aim, tech, alt, space stream, speed, basically whatever you need. The one notable weakness being that hidden mod. That's why you see basically every team against Massachusetts pick hidden, because their strongest player cannot touch it. But put him on the Hard Rock, he'll be just fine, pretty much regardless of what kind of map it is. And honestly, you have to expect big performances out of this guy, because if Massachusetts wants to win this match, that's what they need.
I'm with you. And this Massachusetts roster, a bit of an unconventional one. I don't know if there is ever a world where I would have thought Rykik, Luke K, Elsie was going to be the Hard Rock roster for Massachusetts, actually. Yeah. That's, all right, we'll take it. I mean, Elsie, a great flow aim player, so favorable on the aim style that exists in this map. And Luke K, maybe we're just looking for generally being comfortable on tech maps, which I guess would be the trend here. So something's at least working out for Massachusetts here, but this roster for Carolina, to be honest, actually does look a little bit stronger across the trio without that accuracy from Pullout Couch at 95.6%, lower than Elsie, who has found a break.
Yeah, Pullout Couch really struggling in terms of the accuracy early on here. Hopefully able to fix that a little bit later. Obviously, Wooperfan and Thank You both having a great time so far alongside Rykik. There's another break to come through for Pullout Couch. There goes Wooperfan as well. So 2 early breaks for the side of Carolina on top of that very, very early break for Elsie on the side of Massachusetts. Now it's the double FC for Luke and Rykik on the side of Massachusetts versus just the one for Thank You, formerly Rhythmic RS, on the side of Carolina. And this is a decent combo lead. We are only a quarter of the way into the map, but so far so good, and so far even better for Massachusetts. Thank You finding another drop there, or finding a first drop and losing the full combo for Carolina. That's all the FCs down. That is 2 FCs and a reverse choke still intact for Massachusetts right now, and they are sitting pretty.
Oh, and there's that inconsistency. I keep mentioning it for Rhythmic RS. Such a good player, so consistent, so high skill cap, and has just not been having a good time on these pools, and that's a critical player for Carolina. Massachusetts with a little bit of graces towards them as they find 3 breaks. Now, Rykik was able to hold up a bit more of a substantial combo after Elsie and Luke K found the breaks. But it is going to need to be a recovery from Massachusetts. Pullout Couch finds the miss, so does Thank You. It's Wooperfan up at the 200 right now, but being matched by Elsie and Rykik. Here comes the next Ki section. It's just Elsie to stand now, and it's a 1v1. Wooperfan finds the break, and Elsie the opportunity to continue pushing this in Massachusetts' favor. 125k, and there's nothing happening on Carolina to do otherwise.
Yeah, and really, I mean, as long as the combos are relatively similar, it doesn't matter what happens, who breaks, because guess what? It's 140,000 score lead in favor of Massachusetts. Rykik, you have got to stop shaking that much, bro. We cannot be shaking that much halfway into the map. Oh, no. That is actually worrying on a Hard Rock pick like this. So I really hope he is able to take a deep breath and reset a little bit, because oh boy, if you've got shakes that bad halfway into the map, can only imagine how it's going to feel as we get into this next diff spike, this next Ki time coming up. The build-up already finding a break for Rykik there. And this score lead starting to go down, Chillier. Now, suddenly the combos are no longer even. The score lead not so big anymore. There goes the break for Wooperfan. It's Pullout Couch and Thank You. There goes Daitaku Helios on the side of Massachusetts. Another traded combo away for them, and it's just Elsie versus the 2 recovery combos on Pullout Couch and Thank You. The score lead down to 80k, a quarter of the map left. And yes, the accuracy is a little bit rough for Pullout Couch, it's 93%, but Elsie is not too much better at 95, and Thank You averages that out for Carolina with the 97, so these combos are starting to pull back for Carolina. 70k turns to 60k as we get farther and farther towards the end of the map. Elsie and Pullout Couch both missed at the same time. There's another reset for Wooperfan and Thank You, though. That's all 3 down for Carolina, and now the score lead back over to Massachusetts once again. Rykik and Daitaku Helios both break. It's only 80k, but it'll probably be enough if we don't see a massive drop from Massachusetts near the end of the map.
There it is. That is the breaks that they were looking for on Massachusetts. They found the misses at the ending, but Carolina dropping the big combos at the 11th hour. Pullout Couch and Thank You trying to make some heroics happen there. And it's going to be close to the top score in the lobby between Thank You and Rykick right now. Breaks for both of them. I think Thank You will maintain it. So despite the inconsistencies we mentioned from Rhythmic RS, holding up pretty strong on the Hard Rock 3. Base Drop Freaks, their best map thus far. Top score in the lobby, and Carolina, unfortunately, just worse as an overall roster there. It's the 289K and the borderline over 300K for Whooper Fan 1 compared to the mid 300Ks for LC and Daitaku Helios. And Massachusetts just better overall as a roster. That was not a solo carry performance on either side by any means. That was just raw depth for Massachusetts on the Hard Rock. And honestly, I like their chances on some of these pre-mod picks. Now, this is a very similar map to what we would expect to see, especially drawn out across the Hidden and the Hard Rock requirement.
Yeah, absolutely. I really, really like their chances. If they can pull off a win like that on the Hard Rock 3, I much better like their chances on a lot of the other free mod picks. I think free mod 4 was basically always theirs with the flowing focus in that map. That is kind of a gimme for a roster that has LC and Rykick on it. But definitely a lot better odds on something like the free mod 2 and free mod 3 now as well. So very, very happy to see that for Massachusetts and see that they do have that little bit of depth needed to just put up solid scores on everybody on that map. Where do you go if you're Carolina here? Because now you have no Hidden left. You've been beaten on Tech, of all things, so you don't necessarily want to go there. Do you go into AIM, which is the other kind of on-paper weakness for this Massachusetts roster? Your kind of star player for Massachusetts, both of them, in fact, in LC and Rykick, are not really AIM players, and your big, big supporting players in Luke really isn't either. So a lot of the star power for this Massachusetts roster just doesn't really like those AIM maps. Even then, they've still been able to pull off some wins on them.
I'm thinking the worst map for Massachusetts would be, okay, I was going to say DT4, actually. I was going to say Major Demon, but then I realized Carolina probably can't play Major Demon either because I don't really know if they have a stamina player. The DT2 is an interesting one for Carolina here. They do have a good DT roster, and I guess maybe they're just picking into a weakness of Massachusetts rather than a strength on their own. I'm very interested in how well they fare on the bursts, the triple spam on this map. It does have a pretty decent stamina requirement by the ending. There's also a pretty important note that you need to be able to hold your nerve very, very well on this map. Because of how fast these triples come at you in the Ki sections, it does leave a lot of room for some silly breaks in here, and that could mean breaks on both sides. Carolina has not demonstrated to us yet through the previous weekends that they are able to play DT pools particularly confidently. If you look at last week's stats from the DT pool, they avoided DT1, they avoided the DT2, they also didn't pick DT3, so, and they were like middle bottom of the pack on DT4, which was Ryzon. So Carolina picking this into Massachusetts, a little bit of a gamble. Massachusetts not favored into DT, but they were the third best team last week on Gucci flip-flops. They were fourth best on black and white, and they just had a bit rougher of a time on Deus Ex Machina, which is a completely different style than this map. So you're kind of shooting in the dark if you're Carolina right now.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it felt to me when seeing the Hidden 2 ban come out earlier on as well, is do we really want to ban the Hidden 2? Because yes, it's a flow aim stream map, but the best flow aim stream player on Massachusetts can't really play that. So let's see how they go on this map. As you said, I think picking into a weakness of Massachusetts rather than a strength of their own, oftentimes that is enough. You don't necessarily need to FC. You just need to do better than the opponent team. So as long as they are outscoring, that's all that really matters.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it on the Hidden 1 from Carolina already, right? You know, they only put up a 1.2 million team score. That is the second lowest team score of the weekend. But because Massachusetts was the lowest team score of the weekend by 130K, they won it anyway. So it does ring true. Like, you do just need to be better than the opposing team. The unfortunate part for both sides right now is that it looks like not a single person can play this map. How is there only one player with 99% out of the intro?
And Thank You has broken as well. Has 99%, but not in FC,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
You want high act to break, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose so. Still not ideal if you are trying to win the map.
That break from Bonk is a lot more damaging. That 94% dropping does a hell of a lot more damage than the 99. It's Daitaku Helios to find the trade on the triples. And Pullout Couch misses on the first jump on absolutely nothing. It's Thank You in a 1v2 already. And Massachusetts has made it through the first triple section. In this jump, this is the easier part of the map right here. They just need to make it through to the next set of bursts.
Yeah, this is not a good start to the map for Carolina. They are really being upset at the moment. Everknight's matching Thank You at the moment. Does have lower accuracy, so not quite the same score. But Rykik on the FC is able to match that score and matching higher combo as well compared to Thank You. There goes Everknight. So that is now a way back into this map for Carolina. Daitaku Helios is matching Pullout Couch. Rykik is matching Thank You. So they do need somebody on Massachusetts to break. And there goes the FC from Rykik halfway through the map. Awful timing on that break. It is the worst score capping point to break in the entire map halfway through. And now, Thank You with this 99% reverse choke is the player to watch. All eyes on the bottom middle left, as Thank You, if he can hold, is going to carry this map for Carolina.
Yeah, Thank You. The only player in this lobby that is able to play this map competently. 99.7% accuracy. The next closest to 97. And it's Daitaku Helios, the only thing standing in between Massachusetts and complete doom right now. Must hold through this burst section, but it needs to be Thank You to find the break. It's Daitaku Helios to drop, and Carolina has made it through. Pullout Couch has made the recovery. It's a 900 combo, and Massachusetts with no player now on any combo. Bonk clearly doesn't have the score up with the gulp. It's 130k in favor of Carolina with no combo on Massachusetts. It would require a break from Thank You and Pullout Couch in this section. Nigh impossible. And that 99.6% and Rhythmic RS just being the most comfortable player in the lobby by an unforeseen margin as Pullout Couch finds the break, but it doesn't matter. The solo carry comes through, and it's once again Carolina saved on the heroics of a singular player. It's Rhythmic RS, 99.6 into the ending. It will be close to that million, if not over, and what a play.
Yeah, what a score from Thank You. This is absolute domination. Is going to be near double the next best score in the lobby. Rykik just above 500k there for Massachusetts, and Thank You is pretty rapidly closing in on 1 million. I don't think is going to quite be double the next best score in the lobby. We'll see. It's going to be pretty close coming into the ending, but I do think it's not quite going to be double score. No, still an absolutely ridiculous gap in the lobby with that reverse choke from Thank You. If he had just held through the intro, that would have been more than double the next best score in the lobby. Not quite the FC, but a fantastic score regardless. And yeah, as you said a few times, really nobody else able to confidently combo and act that map compared to Thank You. Absolutely rewarding Carolina with the win on that map. Very, very solid pick for them. Did look a little rough at the start of the map, but as it went on, after those breaks in the middle for Rykik, Carolina really pulling away with that one in a way where Massachusetts just had no chance at a comeback.
And that Rhythmic RS score right there is why everyone should be tuning into the winners bracket matches this week, because imagine that score across 6 players up with the 4 winners bracket teams. So this map is very, if you're proficient at the DT skill set, this map is very accessible. It's very simple. There's not a lot to get caught out on, and Rhythmic RS is just showing us a perfect display of consistency across this skill set. exactly when he needed to for his team, and Carolina uses that to tie the matchup. It looked a little bit dire straits at the start, and honestly, Carolina may have pulled that back with the combo from Pullout Couch as well. Rhythmic RS didn't even need to put up that high of a score. It was just a lot of security for them and exactly when they needed it to come through. So Massachusetts continuing to have to look for responses on all of these maps here, but they've been doing a good job of it. Their own picks haven't been quite as confident as they might have liked across the board. You know, Massachusetts' first map win by 229K, so a pretty decent margin. Second one only by 108K. Meanwhile, Carolina's map wins 325K and 500,000 on their next map. So Carolina's been doing a little bit better of a job finding maps with larger score margins. The problem is the skill sets that exist in these maps are gone now. So Massachusetts has done closer performances on a more diverse set of skill sets. And as we go into the aim now, Massachusetts once again banking on some big combos through into that Ki section.
I love this map.
Low scores.
I love this map. It is going to be a low-scoring map. This is a tough one. Originally for OWC 2023 semifinals, and a very, very consistently difficult aim map. This was something like 7.45 stars originally. I do believe this has been buffed on the new update. Yeah, up to 7.8, which is more accurate. More accurate, I think. I don't know if it's quite hard enough, but that's definitely more accurate for this map. This is a very, very tricky one. And honestly, the tapping section in this is not bad. I think if you do struggle with the tapping section on this, you're really a player who is not going to be happy with any tapping in any map whatsoever. So most of these players should be pretty comfortable with it. I think especially looking at Massachusetts for the team who picked this, you've got a couple of players in on this who are absolutely going to be fine with the streams and finger control in this map.
Yeah, this is uncharacteristically low scores this weekend on this map, by the way. I believe the #1 score of the weekend right now coming out of Oklahoma on Mr. Jeffrey with only 651K.
Yeah.
That's right. That's the highest score of the weekend on this out of 6 teams who have played this map. So if that doesn't give you some perspective on how hard it is to be consistent on this map, that should be the tell. Window Life, 615K on this map. Eddie, 600K on this map. Like, these are good aim players who have struggled on this map. So regardless of whether or not you're a strong aim player, there's always room for breaking, and we've already seen it at the start here. There's a triple breakdown on the bottom. It's Wooperfan, Rykick, and Daitaku Helios to find the early misses. Elsie, a player who has actually carried Florida through Nomad 1 back in grand finals in years past. Going to be the last one to break the combo, and now it's all down to Bochi Cookie for Carolina to start and make this score lead work in their favor. But here comes the first Ki. That was just but a taste of what this map had in store at the start.
Yeah, and you can just tell how ridiculously tough it is to combo this map, as everybody is finding misses all over the place besides Bochi Cookie, the only player left with an FC in the lobby already. 25-30K score lead for Carolina off of really just the accuracy for Pullout Couch plus this combo for Bochi Cookie, and that is kind of it. Recovery combos are coming back for the players on both sides of the lobby. Elsie and Pullout Couch matching. There goes Bochi Cookie, there goes Rykick, there goes Elsie. 2 more breaks for Massachusetts, just the one on the FC for Bochi Cookie on the side of Carolina. Pullout Couch misses after that Ki time ends, so we have slight combo lead on the side of Daitaku Helios. Make that a big combo lead. Wooperfan gone. Make that no combo lead as Daitaku Helios gone. And Chillier, it's just a shit show all over the place. Everybody missing all over the place on this map because that's just how hard it is. This is a ridiculously difficult map to be consistent on and to combo. Looking at accuracy, you can see even a lot of players with this many misses, you're looking at very, very high accuracy, and the score lead is flickering because of that. It's down to 5K, less than 5K in favor of Carolina, now back over to Massachusetts.
And a reminder that these combos are very important for Massachusetts right now. This is their pick. This is on the verge of a break point. Carolina luckily struggling in the ladder section of this map as we go into the burst stream section. Here comes the square stream. Do we see anyone miss on the flow aim patterns here? Massachusetts certainly would like it to be Carolina. They've got double 300 combos coming through here. The slider section coming up afterwards on these triples. Right here, the flow aim. There's one more pattern, and then there's a quick switch section right here. The wide angles. It's Bochi Cookie to find the break, and that's best case scenario if you're Massachusetts. Whooper fan to find the miss too, and it's LT and Rykick to hold through with the combo. Daitaku Helios matches Pullout Couch, and Massachusetts may have just finally caught a break on this Nomad 5 fucking Friday all the way until a third of the map to go. It's a double 700 combo from LZ and Rykick before we finally start to see a team run away with this. It's Pullout Couch on the combo for Carolina right now. Rykick, the only one standing as gain for Massachusetts. Slider section here, and it's Pullout Couch to break it. I think that's just it. Massachusetts may have done it.
There's just no combo on the side of Carolina anymore. They absolutely have done it. Big combos for all three players through the stream section is what does it for Massachusetts there. Not finding any breaks during the flow aim, and more importantly, on the jumps in between a lot of the flow aim streams. The streams themselves are not that hard, but the jumps in between are still very difficult. So Massachusetts able to hold their combo during that hybrid difficulty section is really what saves them on this map. Big combo going into the ending for Whooper Fan compared to everybody else in the lobby. Somewhat impressive just off of the sheer spacing on some of these jumps. So well done there, but not going to be nearly enough. 170k in favor of Massachusetts, and they will take fucking Friday on a Saturday here at USA States Cup.
We take it. We'll take it a day late for Massachusetts as they work their way in on yet another pick. 170k, maintaining around that same score margin that we've seen from them on their past few picks. These mid 150, 200k score gaps. And it's just that 400k plus across the board from Mass. Again, not a solo carry on that by any means. Likewise with Carolina, no standout performance. It was just mid 300ks across the board, and it was enough for Massachusetts to hold through that harder section of the map with the more frequent breaks from Carolina on the spacing. And we have yet to see another map where there's been a standout performance. For Carolina, it has been far more the case that they have relied on those solo carries. You know, you look at Carminations, it was Bochi Cookie well above the playing field. It was Abracadabra with Rhythmic RS well above the playing field. Massachusetts on Rat Race into Base Drop Freaks, now into Nomad 5. And the largest difference, by the way, for Massachusetts on a single player was on Rat Race with Rykick on that 900k. Every other map, every single player has been within 30k of the next closest. So it has been a team effort for Massachusetts, whereas Carolina is really banking on their strong skill cap. And I think it's very viable for both sides to continue doing this on at least one more pick. I think I can see at least one for either side.
Yeah, I can definitely see a couple more picks for both of these teams. I do feel like Carolina, if they are going to lean into Rhythmic RS, I really like this DT1 for them. Malformed Box, I think, is a very, very good pick for this team if they want to lean into that carry performer. And honestly, potentially something like the DT3 as well for Carolina if they want to just pick multiple of these DT maps and lean into Rhythmic RS being by far the best DT player in the lobby right now. I think that's pretty reasonable. DT4 is the exception to that rule. That is pure stamina, and that is a Rykick map. Free Mod 2 is not what I was thinking for this team, however. That is an interesting one. Okay.
Flowing.
Yeah, I definitely don't... I'm not so sure about this one, because this is... Okay. Theory crafting. Bochi Cookie is better on this than... Carolina is leaning on a carry from Bochi Cookie and on Rhythmic RS being the better hard rock alt aim control player than Rykick. I think that's probably correct on this map. As opposed to something like the Free Mod 4, I'm not sure.
I'm gonna throw this out there. This is top 3 hardest maps in this pool, especially if you're the Hard Rock player. This is aim control favored. It's flow aim. It's got crazy spacing at the ending. And this map will absolutely favor the team that has the highest skill cap player for each individual mod. And I think, like you were sort of mentioning, Carolina might just be outclassing them on that high level if they have a really confident hidden player like Bochi Cookie. And if Thank You can put up a good Hard Rock score on this map, there is a higher likelihood that Rykick finds more breaks on this map given its styling, and Massachusetts just doesn't really have a hidden player that I think matches Bochi Cookie on this. So unless Luke K steps up on that Nomad, which we've seen before,
oh yeah,
it's going to be tough.
All right, let's see how this goes for both of these teams. I am really interested to see how this pick works out, because I think this will also... I think this can also impact the pick strategy for later on in this match. If you are Massachusetts and you lose on a pick like this, how confident are you really going to be going into something like the Fremod 4 later on? So I think this...
Client glitch? Does Carolina not have a Hard Rock?
They definitely should, surely. Yes.
Okay, there we go. I was like, does Carolina not have a Hard Rock?
So this is funny. They've actually got Thank You on the Nomad and Wooperfan on the Hard Rock.
I actually kind of respect that. Putting your highest skill cap player on the Nomad is 100% a viable strategy. And luckily for Massachusetts, they're able to put Luke K, even though he's not their highest skill cap player, he is consistent enough at this difficulty that it makes as much sense to put him on Nomad as it does Rykick. And Rykick is just the better Hard Rock player, so it actually is fine.
Wooperfan, meanwhile, is struggling with this Hard Rock so far early on. And that does not bode well. This map gets harder. It doesn't really get easier. So if you're struggling early on, you are really going to have a bad time later on in the map. We are already a third of the way in as well. Here we go into some actual patterns. This is where all of the combo is, and yeah, Wooperfan is really not having a good time. First chain miss to come out from Wooperfan. There goes Thank You, there goes Rykick, there goes Daitaku Helios. It's LC and Bochi Cookie. The hidden players are the only ones left after that first Ki time, as a 3-way wipe happens at the end of it.
Well, I made the bold call earlier that Bochi Cookie had looked more consistent than LZ had on the hidden in the previous maps, but that is not the case today. LZ back and better than ever, a long-standing United States Cup player, by the way. A player who has been around for 8 years of this tournament, going to be the one to step up for Massachusetts. And as we go into the slider aim pattern, if there's no miss aim here for LZ, it's one more flow aim section, and it is going to be all the way through the hero for Massachusetts. It's been a while from a solo carry. It does find a break, but that's 200k with not a combo to speak of on Carolina, and that is a break point that Massachusetts is going to feel absolutely amazing taking. Their free mod reign continues.
Yeah, I really hesitated to call this a good pick when Carolina made it, because as we've been talking about, Massachusetts is a good free mod team. They consistently pick multiple free mods every match and win them. And that is very much in part because of this duo of Elsie and Rykick, plus Luke being able to just fill very well on the Nomad on pretty much whatever free mod map you put him on. But your two highest skill cap players having similar skill sets and opposite mods is such a recipe for success on free mod picks, and they show it off once again here, even though the highest score in the lobby is on Bochi Cookie by the end of this. 550k on the hidden for Bochi Cookie, as LC, I think, kind of dies to the nerves a little bit at the end there and starts chain missing quite a lot. It just doesn't matter. Thank You on the Nomad is outscored by all three members of Massachusetts.
Oh, there's just nothing nothing in the universe that you are doing to recover from 168,000 score if you're Carolina. There is no world that you make it back from that, unfortunately. And that 200k lead disappears instantly if Wooperfan can play that map just a little bit better. It's only a 200k lead for Massachusetts with 400ks across the board. Bochi Cookie put up 100k on their own as a gain. But Wooperfan, 65 misses, 88% AC, and a max 186 combo. You've got to question the swap out on the thank you Hard Rock for the Wooperfan one. Was it the good choice to make to swap out the Hard Rock player? Would it have been better off on the Nomad? It remains to be seen for Carolina. Massachusetts on a break point, looking to consolidate it now on their own pick, and that's match point consolidation too. Massachusetts has just been given the golden ticket to tiebreaker guaranteed in this match, and a tiebreaker that, if Carolina should be able to get back there, is fairly favored to the consistency players in this lobby, which have been pretty even on both sides here. So Massachusetts, it is absolutely in their best interest to close this out early. They do not want to have to play World's End against Carolina, especially if Thank You is feeling more confident in the latter half of this match.
Yeah, absolutely not. So this breakpoint is huge for Massachusetts, and they may be on a winning track now. I feel like after that last map, you just go into another free mod. You look very, very comfortable on those free mods. You have basically all tournament long. And instead, we're getting no mod 4, so we're just going for more, you know? Okay. So, hear me out. We won alt just now. This is 150 BPM on the alt sections. We won aim in fucking Friday. There's big aim in this map. The one part of this is the finger control at 225 BPM, but I think the players in this lobby are going to be just fine with that. Really, the biggest difficulties in Furiosa Melodia are in the alt aim control, somewhat the flow aim, of course, lots of cut streams in this map, but the big 225 BPM 1/3 jumps in this map are really what kill a lot of combos. And we did see Massachusetts win on both alt and aim, so I don't mind this pick. I would have really liked to see the free mod 4 instead, but I don't mind this pick.
It's certainly not bad. It keeps with the trend of the flow aim styled map. It keeps with the trend of consistency. It keeps with the trend of maps that Luke K and Rykik and Cappy are all very good at. LC has found some consistency, but also some nerves on the latter half of maps. Luke K has yet to have his moment in this match, and Rykik has been sort of falling into the middle of the pack here. And on one of the most solo carryable maps in the entire pool, you really want your upper end to show up on this map right now. For Carolina, it's been a little while since they've had someone step up on something. Massachusetts, it was LZ for the middle part of the flow aim on that free mod, but they're going to need multiple, I think, on this. A longer map in Furioso. These cuts are more difficult than they lead on, and there is a lot of consistency questions, honestly, on both sides right now for a consistent map. And this requires a lot of control, a lot of focus, and it is a map that is deceptively difficult for how FCable it is. So to put up a good combo on this will work wonders for both sides. And as we get into this slow intro here, I think we're going to be able to see pretty early in these quick switches who's comfortable on these cuts.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is one, again, that is a little bit of a difficulty ramping map. There are some sections to this one. I think the first part is a little bit harder than the middle, but it really does come down to preference on what sorts of things you want to play. Those are some unfortunate breaks for LC and Bonk at the start here, but they are traded, so, you know, no harm, no foul, I suppose, for both of these teams.
That pattern's tough. That pattern is very breakable.
It is. Very shit missable.
So is this one coming up right here. This snap right here.
Yeah, absolutely. And there goes Pullout Couch.
Yep, there it is. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, and Bonk. Oh, no, Carolina. You cannot drop that many combos in this intro set. Oh, my God.
Oh, no. Okay.
You cannot do this in the intro. Oh my god, this is Rykick and Luke K all day right now.
That is very bad for Carolina and very good for Massachusetts, and it would take kind of a miracle at this point. It feels weird saying that. Okay, well, an over-aim on the cut stream there from Daitaku Helios is half of a miracle. Rykick now the only big combo, the only FC left in the lobby, and the recovery combos for Carolina are better than the ones on Massachusetts. So this is absolutely still losable for Mass now, as we get just everybody breaking all over the place on Furiosa Melodia. It is the year of our Lord 2026, and people are still mind blocked on this map after so long. 11 years later, and this map still really does, I think, intimidate people a little bit. If you're playing Furiosa Melodia in a tournament, it is very scary.
Luckily, Rykick is not old enough to have that mind block in this scene, and I think that's working in his favor. The jump section comes out here, though, and this is where we could see breaks all across the board. It's all Rykick. He is single-handedly holding off this onslaught from Carolina right now. Luke K, 450 combo, basically doing nothing right now. It's barely matching Bonk. LZ with a couple combo breaks here. These triple section, absolute miss potential here. It's LZ, not what Massachusetts needs right now. They need a miss on Carolina to come out on these bursts. It's Bonk. They might need one more, but it comes out from the same player, but it's Luke K to hold, and that actually favors Massachusetts. Now they've been given a saving grace. Rykick can use this full combo to continue working through as we go into the second part of the jump section. It's Luke K and pull-out couch. It favors Massachusetts, and it's Rykick versus Bochi Cookie. Luke K misses on the burst.
Oh my god.
Bochi Cookie to find the break, and Rykick is going. He's bringing it home.
Finally, he finds a miss 2/3 of the way into the map, 99.4%. The FC is now gone, but Rykick, absolute heroics from this man, saving Massachusetts on this pick until the final hour, until he absolutely was not needed anymore, until all of the combos were gone. If he did not hold that FC exactly that long, they would be losing right now. And instead, they are still in the lead, not by a huge margin, only 50K at the moment for Massachusetts, but all due to his heroics. That was a massive play from Rykick here to keep them out ahead when everybody on Carolina had big combos. Pull-out couch and Bochi Cookie both outperforming everybody else on Massachusetts. Bonk outdoing LC slightly as well. The combos now building up for basically everyone going into this more aim control focused alt section right now. We get a lot of higher spacing snaps during this section, back into the flow aim later on, plus the finger control at the moment. Most players are going to be pretty okay with this section, but there's a couple of really tricky snaps during this part with some longer chains. Here's the big 1/3 jumps. There goes LC. There goes Bonk. There goes Rykick. There goes Bochi Cookie on the wiggle as well. It's pull-out couch and Daitaku Helios. 45K in favor of Massachusetts coming into the ending now. We get the full hybrid blend of everything we've seen before, and Daitaku Helios misses on the 1/6, and now it's pull-out couch holding on to the only combo in the lobby. 15K in favor of Massachusetts and dropping as pull-out couch now with their own heroics to pull it back for Carolina at the very last second at dusk. Pull-out couch brings it back over to the side of Carolina. It's more misses. Bochi Cookie full chain misses that pattern, and wait, it's 20K in favor of Massachusetts again. Suddenly, I don't know what that technical difficulty was, but that was really terrible for Carolina. It might not even matter. Pull-out couch is still going.
It's the chain misses from Carolina. Will it be enough at the ending? It's going to go over.
Oh my god.
Couch. It's 4K. Double chain misses from Carolina, and they still hold on. It was 27 misses at the ending. How does that not go either way? Pull-out couch had to hold the longest combo ever. How did it take that long to go over?
That was absurd. I don't know exactly what happened there to Bochi Cookie, but that was the single biggest chain miss I might have ever seen in a tournament on that on this map for sure. That is the single biggest chain miss I've seen on Furiosa Melodia. Instant swap 20K points back to Massachusetts. Pull-out couch has to re-hold for the rest of that 20K again. Bonk finds a chain miss afterwards. Pull-out couch has to hold even longer. Misses right at the end of the map. And the score swaps 2K back towards Massachusetts with the miss from Pullout Couch, but it's just barely not enough. Rykic, I think, kicking himself after not quite holding long enough to bring that over to the side of Massachusetts fully. And Carolina laughing after that one, laughing their way to the bank with a win on that map because, oh my god, is that the steal of the match.
That was a very, very necessary break point right there. That was the moment for Carolina to stave off certain doom from Massachusetts. That was not simply the break point that they needed to bring this match back to a tie. That prevented Massachusetts from getting a guaranteed tiebreaker. That was Massachusetts all the way home into the world's end, and Carolina at the 11th hour put a stop to it with Rykic, I think, just catching some nerves at the ending there. There was some aim inconsistency, there was some missed snaps, and Carolina with a ballsy move going back into Fremont against Massachusetts, a team who, to my knowledge, has lost very few free mod picks this year.
Yeah, I, again, really don't like the free mod picks into Massachusetts. I feel like a broken record here at this point, but I really hate the free mod picks into Massachusetts. Let's see if it works out for them. We'll see if Carolina's got the sauce on this map. It's Meritvetsi. This is a pretty well-known tech map in the tournament scene at this point. Very, very big on the slider aim and aim control, especially on a lot of the bursts and finger control in this map. So, pretty standard tech map stuff. It's an older Mazarin map as well. This is definitely hidden favored. Once again, this is very hidden favored.
Who's good at this?
Yeah, I don't really know. Bochi Cookie, maybe? That's kind of like Luke? I don't know.
Yeah, Luke, Bochi Cookie. Pullout Couch has been pretty good across the board on multiple skill sets in here. And it looks like Zelf's gonna maybe come in, just, you know, give Rykic that break, which is a reasonable substitution for Massachusetts, because they really, you know, they're gonna need to get set up for that last pick. This could go to Carolina very well if, you know, they're picking this off of their own confidence, which I imagine is the only reason you pick a free mod at this point against Massachusetts. Massachusetts does end up putting Rykic, so we don't get a Zelf's play in for Massachusetts today. It's going to be almost that traditional free mod roster. It's Ethan John in for LC, and Carolina looking for that one performance. Bring this 4-4. Massachusetts all of the sudden now is forced to win their own pick in order to force tiebreaker. Carolina goes back. Each team has lost a break point, and Carolina with that steal just barely on that last map to get back into this. Massachusetts certainly going to be looking for revenge on this map. It's Rykic on the Hard Rock. It's Ethan John the hit, and they're putting Luke K on that Nomad, which to me means they're expecting a big combo out of Luke K and Pullout Couch, respectively, on the top. Those are the two players to look out for here. Hidden and Hard Rock are harder than Nomad on this map by a margin that can't even be described by the English language. So I'm looking at the top right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And as if to prove the point, one Hidden, one Hard Rock have broken for both teams so far. You'll have to forgive me. My throat has been hurting since Wednesday with all this wildfire smoke up here. Taitaku Helios also with a break for the side of Massachusetts, and that is not what you want to see on the Nomad. It's now all Rykic holding the combo for Massachusetts on the Hard Rock, and there he goes as well. And you know, Chillier, it might turn out that Carolina is just that much better on Meritvetsi that it doesn't matter. This is a free mod pick.
It might. Pullout Couch, and this is that Nomad combo here I was sort of saying earlier. We are still waiting for those heroics from Luke K here, but it was Pullout Couch to get the bigger combo at the start, and it's Bochi Cookie now confident as an aim player, classically known for being good at this skill set, and it's all really down to the hidden potential added score for Bochi Cookie right now. Does finally find the miss, And all of a sudden, Luke K's ability to drag this back in Massachusetts' favor starts to look a little bit more possible. And as I say that, I leave the room because he misses as those words leave my mouth. It is Ethan John, however, to match the combos on both sides for Carolina on that hidden Rykick struggling with the Hard Rock. Absolutely. Wooperfan also struggling with the Hard Rock here. And it needs to come out of those no mod and hidden players. It's 70k in favor of Carolina. Not a big margin. And a lot of misses coming out of Pullout Couch and Bochi Cookie. It's Daitaku Helios and Rykick. It's 15k score back to Massachusetts and going. Ethan John, the only one with these misses holding it, but they're traded up by Carolina at every turn. The map is coming to a close so quickly. It's Rykick to find a break, though. Massachusetts couldn't afford that. It's all Luke K now. Pullout Couch finds a miss. It's 35k. It's 40k. Another miss from Pullout Couch and Bochi Cookie. Wait
oh my
a
God,
second.
the three-way.
Does Luke K actually have it in him? This might be the combo. I said he might not. We were waiting for the heroics from Luke K. It's 4k in favor of Massachusetts.
God.
It's 10k. It's 15k. It's climbing the 500 combo, and it's Luke K into the finish. Carolina gets shut down.
And you know, apparently I spoke too soon once again, talking about Carolina maybe just being that much better on Mertvetsy that it doesn't matter this is a free mod pick. No, in fact, it does matter this is a free mod pick. Your Hard Rock player is winning by 140,000 points for Massachusetts. Your no mod player is up by another 80k. So your hidden player being down that 200k from Bochi Cookie is completely offset. It is the differing mods that once again make the difference for Massachusetts. They win 2 out of 3 of the head-to-head matchups, and that is enough to offset the carry performance from Bochi Cookie. 480k on this is massive, but it's just not quite going to be enough for Carolina to take the point. They get broken back by Massachusetts on another free mod pick. They are 0 for 2 on these free mods. And on paper, you look at the score difference on the free mods that Massachusetts has had, and it seems like they, you know, a lot of these free mod picks for Massachusetts have been really close, and they've just barely won every time. But I swear to God, their win rate is like 85% on free mod picks in this
100%.
tournament. Like, it just doesn't matter if the scores are close because they're winning the picks so often that it feels like picking free mod into this team is a trap. And Carolina now falls for it twice.
Watch all this free mod success. Massachusetts picks DT4 right now. Like,
please pick a free mod.
They go DT4.
Please pick another free mod. I swear. I'm actually begging.
Well,
please pick another free mod. Massachusetts.
They've done it. You know what? Massachusetts, and the good point for Carolina to note here is this is not the true 2-point lead. Because if Massachusetts, for some reason, does not get their pick here, Carolina goes back onto their own map to bring this to tiebreakers still. So they're not safe.
No, they have one chance to win the match on their own terms, and that is right now. So if they pick successfully, and they pick DT4. I actually don't hate this pick either.
I knew it!
I really would have liked to see a free mod, but I don't hate this pick either. I think they're just banking on Rykick being the best stamina player in the lobby.
Evernight too.
Evernight too. Yeah.
It's the duo.
Yeah, and there they are.
Yeah, this is... Considering Carolina across the board struggled just as bad as Massachusetts did on Abracadabra, and this map is more stamina favored than that map was, and Massachusetts doesn't have to worry about the speed now, right? You know, these kick sliders are very difficult on this map to get down, but if you have them, which I imagine Massachusetts does on their own pick here, this instantly becomes significantly more comfortable for them. And given Evernight Rykick alone off of this duo is going to be a great start for them. Now, who the hell does Massachusetts put in as a third on this map for drawn out DT stamina? God bless their soul.
Who knows?
But you damned to hell and back. Like,
they're not going to be happy.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, they will very much not be happy, whoever it is.
Oh, it's Zels. Okay, that's fine. Okay, yeah.
Or is it? No, it is.
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely. Ain't no way Luke K. LZ playing this map. And I haven't seen Nushi yet, so...
We've seen Nushi.
They're not the DT stamina player for this
Well,
map,
no.
at least.
No.
For a DT is what I mean. Sorry, not in the match.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
For DT.
All right, and looks like this is going to be the roster lock-ins. Bonk, Wooperfan, and Thank You in for Carolina as well. Once again, it's only one breakpoint for Massachusetts. If they lose this map, Carolina gets their own next pick. They get the opportunity to force tiebreaker. So Massachusetts absolutely want to win here and not give Carolina that opportunity to get back to tiebreaker, to get access to their last pick in this match. Here we go. Taking stock of the accuracy early on, and, well, there's a few people who are comfortable, and there's a few people who aren't. And right now, actually, there are more people on Carolina who are comfortable than Massachusetts.
Something I am just learning right now is Evernight has FC'd this map twice tonight.
Oh.
Twice in the past half hour. So, to me, I'm worried about nerves at that point, right? When you set the expectation of needing to perform on a map, especially with a player like Evernight known for catching the nerves towards the ending of a map, I do worry a little bit. However, if Carolina does start to find some breaks in the more stamina drawn out section of the map, like right here, this is where it's going to make the difference, right? That intro section's not particularly difficult. It's this. This is where the test really comes through here. It's Bonk and Thank You to find the misses, Wooperfan to hold the combo on here, and it's just Evernight to go up against them right now. That 95% accuracy for both sides, not too big of a difference. Massachusetts is going to need some more support, and they need Right Kick to hold and Evernight to not break, and there it is. Wooperfan going to be the one to hold this one down now for Carolina. Does finally find a miss, but not before putting up 100K for Carolina.
The problem now is the overall accuracy. You have pretty solid AC for Carolina, and unfortunately 91 for Zelts, but everybody on Carolina is matching the accuracy for Massachusetts. So even if the combos are held the same for both of these teams, the score is going to go up in favor of Carolina. That is a huge chain miss for Wooperfan, though, and that brings the AC down significantly. Unfortunately, more breaks for Rykick, more breaks for Zelts, and combo on both Bonk and Thank You. So despite Evernight holding this combo again, it's still moving back the way of Carolina despite the repeated misses from Wooperfan. 100K, and it is starting to come back the way of Massachusetts. That is a huge chain miss again from Wooperfan, but there goes Evernight. And now all the combo is on Carolina. All the score is on Carolina. Quarter of the map left, and Chillier with no combo really to speak of on the side of Massachusetts. It is hard to imagine a world where they win this. They would need both Bonk and Thank You to miss. There's Bonk, but Thank You still holding some combo. Zelt's unable to hold the combo through that section. It's just Rykick left alone with combo against Thank You.
This is it. This is the final opportunity for Carolina to close this one through. Ready to go. They've got the combo on Thank You. Nerves holding strong for Thank You. Does find a miss off of it. Evernight likewise. Miles level shake up in the top right here.
Oh my god.
Rykick, unfortunately, with the late combo, far too little too gone for Carolina, as Massachusetts with a bit of an inventive pick in this DT4. We thought the free mod would be solid. And that's going to be Carolina taking the break point back yet again. And now for their second opportunity on their own pick to close this match out. They missed it once. They will not miss it again. They need to find the opportunity here to bring this one through. And a 487K out of Rhythmic RS. And once again, it's just Rhythmic RS being the most confident in the lobby. For Massachusetts, Evernight came a lot closer this time, and Bonk with the support for Carolina, looking pretty solid on the DT. And now I think Carolina just goes into whatever the most mechanics favored map is left. Perhaps that free mod 1. Even though they've lost it before, that is just burst core aim. Maybe DT... Oh, DT3's up. Oh, it's
DT1 and 3 are both up, and Rhythmic RS
it's definitely
is
DT3.
gapping the lobby on either of those. But yeah,
DT1 gimmick as hell.
Please don't pick another free mod. That's all I have to say right now. Please don't pick another free mod. I know the skill set for free mod 1 makes sense. Please don't pick it. Just pick DT3.
I think DT3 is their best map here. You know, it is it's scenarios like this that really determine how far a captain has come in their experience being able to maintain their composure in team picking strategy. And right now, if I am Carolina right now, I'm using all of that experience that I have on this roster to try and figure out, let's look at what's happened in this match thus far. Let's look at what Massachusetts has traditionally struggled on. And at this point, you need to go for the speed. You need to go for the DT. Going into the free mod one, it is more aim favored. It's Hard Rock player favored. You don't want to give Rykick that opportunity. You don't want to give LZ the free mod 4 flow aim. The Hard Rock one you lost, through on some of the aim maps here. It has to be DT3 if I'm Carolina. Anything else here is a wild card.
Yeah. And I think to back that up even more, what has Massachusetts actually won on? They've won on No Mod 3. They've won on No Mod 5. They've won on the 2 free mods. And they've won on Hard Rock 3. Anything else with high speed in the DT or the bursts in Furiosa Melodia all went the way of Carolina. They do end up going for DT1 instead. Again, I don't hate it because I think Rhythmic RS, thank you, gaps everybody in this lobby by such a huge amount on this map that it is also a good pick for Carolina. Very similar to what we saw on the DT2, but a different style of map. That said, I like it less than the DT3 because, again, you look at what Massachusetts has won. They've won on tech. They've won on aim control. You don't necessarily want to pick a map with that kind of similar skill set, even if it's DT, into them again.
This map is like a nerve consistency test, too. It's got so many awkward snap patterns into the ending. It's really hard to have a confident combo on here. It's the least speed-favored DT in the pool. And I think that maybe works in Massachusetts' favor slightly when it comes to being able to not have to rely on your speed for this map. But it's an entirely different DT skill set now that's opened up to the lobby. And if Carolina is picking this over a DT3, which I think favors them massively, they've got to have something up their sleeves when it comes to some of these more difficult sections. There's some big spacing 1/3 patterns, some quick switches in here. I think I like the fact that Carolina picked a DT against Massachusetts. At the very least, I will hand it to them. They didn't deviate. And I think that's the important thing, is that Carolina's maintaining their composure right now. They did pick the 2 of the DTs, though, that is more favored to Massachusetts, especially if they've practiced this up here. You do have Rykick, Luke K, and Evernight coming back in for this. The Evernight making the swap here. I think that does make a little bit more sense. I would not trust, nerves on an aim control DT1. This is like DT4-esque, like alt big aim control here. I like the Nushi sub. And I think this is probably the best possible chance for Carolina to close this match out, though Mass has not looked good on the DT today.
They definitely have not, so I do, again, like this pick for Carolina. Pull Out Couch Whooper fan, thank you in for Carolina. Trying to force tiebreaker against Massachusetts. Up match point for Massachusetts, looking for 1 breakpoint on this map, 1 more breakpoint to close it out without that tiebreaker. Daitaku Helios, Rykick, and Ethan John.
Well, this is the early easy part of the map here. The map gets a hell of a lot more difficult on some of these swaps afterwards. Carolina was guilty of finding some very early breaks in sections like this in the start of this match, and they have recovered from that a lot. And now here we go into the actual part of the map. You've got a big swap into the hard part. This is all the easy section right here, and here we go. This is the build-up. This is the time to shine for all of these players. 6-way full combo right now. Accuracy is favoring Carolina. Doesn't mean anything. 10K. A quarter of the way in, a fairly long map, and it only gets more difficult as it plays through. Once again, it's Rhythmic RS, the most comfortable, and it's Nushi to find that first break, but we still have yet to hit the trip-up pattern for both of these two teams. We could see all 5 of these remaining combos break potentially here. And it's 4 of them, and it's 2 on Carolina. That doesn't favor them, but it makes a basically null difference here. It's Luke K versus Whooper Fan.
And this is not what you want to see, I think, for Carolina, is this very, very close set of combos on either side. There goes both of the FCs, and that is a huge 4-way break. Now it's just Ethan Jean and Thank You make that nobody, as it is a 6-way break during this aim control section halfway into the map. Everybody is gone. All the accuracy is pretty much reset, relatively similar across both teams. Ethan Jean the lowest, Thank You the highest, but the average AC relatively similar for both of these squads. 37k in favor of Carolina is basically nothing when all of the combos have been reset and the accuracy is about the same. Pullout Couch with another miss, giving the combo lead back over to Massachusetts, and this score lead coming now pretty quickly with another miss to come through from Thank You as well.
These misses from Carolina are crucial for Massachusetts. This 94% from Nushi is doing some serious damage to that score lead for Mass. And Pullout Couch, yet again, finding another break. Will this be a case of Carolina once again falling short when it matters? It's Whooper Fan versus 3 combos for Massachusetts. We're into a free section right now. There's one more part to break on here, but it would require at least 2 of these 3 for Massachusetts to drop. It's going to be so close. It's Nushi once again dropping on that 93%, not doing a Massachusetts a favor there. They need these combos. It's Rykick and Pullout Couch to trade that favors Carolina. A second break from Rykick and Ethan Jean. It's Luke K to find a break with Thank You, and Whooper Fan is going to do it for Carolina again, but the chain miss from Thank You, and it's Rykick to find the break, and it's, oh my god, no.
Whooper Fan at the very end as well.
Whooper Fan
at the very end as well does find the break, but Pullout Couch has just a little bit of extra combo for Carolina. It's 25k growing to 35k and 40k by the end of it. Carolina will take us to tiebreaker here in the semifinals and will find a win on this DT1 versus Massachusetts by the skin of their teeth. Big combo on all 3 members of Massachusetts going into the end. It looked over for Carolina, and yet the miracle happens once again. Chillier, have they used all 3 wishes from this genie lamp yet? Because it seems like both of these teams just keep pulling out miracle wins one after the other in this match.
Well, this is a scenario that Massachusetts is unfortunately all too familiar with, I believe. And I'm just going off the top of my head here. Massachusetts, one of the highest concentration of tiebreakers played by a singular team in the history of United States Cup. I actually don't know a team that's had to play more tiebreakers than Massachusetts across all their years in this tournament. And that was with the Legacy Mass roster, not even the new one here. So we are absolutely looking at a scenario that is maybe a little bit newer for them this time around. They played a couple of tiebreakers last year as well. And it's a mechanics tiebreaker, Dio. It's aim, it's got burst, but it is all jumps through this map right now. That is what we are really counting on for both of these teams. And Massachusetts, they won fucking Friday by 166k. They won non-breath oblige and aim map. They barely lost Furioso, and they still hit the entire aim section. There really hasn't been a whole lot of aim opportunity for Carolina. Rat Race, everyone on Carolina missed on aim too. It's going to be down to the consistency. It's going to be down to the skill cap on the hardest map in the pool, and it is absolutely going to be down to those carry level performances that we have seen from both sides. This is going to be the culmination of everything that we have had to see for the past hour and a half here.
And honestly, what a map to do it on, because as you've said, I feel like this is going to be a very, very close map between these two teams. This is a pick that I think works very, very well. We saw just how close they were on tiebreaker 1 in Furiosa Melodia earlier on. That was another one of those picks that was just incredibly close for both of these teams. And yeah, this isn't quite the same in terms of the exact skills tested, but it's pretty damn close. It is aim consistency. It is a little bit of high BPM burst control, a lot less in terms of the alt aim control on this map and finger control as compared to Furiosa Melodia, but a lot of the high difficulty sections are going to be relatively similar in terms of what they test from each team. So this is, I think we should be in for a good one.
Pure consistency mechanics test right now. That's what this map is all about. It's holding your nerve, it's keeping the aim, and it is buckling down for the 5 minutes and 1 second of TB that we are in store for right now. This is absolutely everything for these two teams. This is the chance to stay in the tournament. This is the chance for top 8 on both sides here. Carolina has never placed in the top 8 of a United States Cup in the history of the existence of this team. From 2021 to 2024, Carolina has been knocked out in 9th through 12th. 2025, they were knocked out in 13th to 16th, and it's Carolina to find their first break. Massachusetts has not seen a top 8 finish since 2022. It has been so long, and it has been never for our 5th-seeded Carolina. Both of these teams with everything on the line in this match. Elsie and Bochi Cookie, the two to find the misses. And if you're Massachusetts, Bochi Cookie finding that early break is a heck of a lot of confidence gain, but it's Whooper Fan at the 99.8 to hold the highest accuracy in the lobby right now.
And this is still very, very close between these two. Relatively similar breaks for Elsie and Bochi Cookie. Slight combo and ack lead for Carolina at the moment, or rather just the combo lead. Accuracy on Pullout Couch a little bit low compared to the rest of the lobby. The score lead is going to come back their way, and yeah, Carolina 9th, 12th for 4 years in a row, 13th, 16th last year. Massachusetts, meanwhile, has not been top 8. It has not been top 6 since 2022. And there goes Whooper Fan, and that is not good for Carolina. Pullout Couch now the only FC on their side. It's Daitaku Helios and Raikik to hold on to the full combos for Massachusetts. And now Elsie and Bochi Cookie matching the supporting combos still. This score lead for Massachusetts is growing very quickly. Halfway in, another slider break for Whooper Fan, another reset, closing the door on opportunity for Carolina to come back in this slowly but surely with each consecutive break.
It's the consistency for Massachusetts. They've looked good on the aim. Pullout Couch did pull out some heroics earlier on a pick, and it's going to need to be on the tiebreaker again, but they need Bochi Cookie to hold the combo as we go into the refrain now. 122K in favor of Massachusetts, and normally on a 5-minute tiebreaker, that would be a major score gap for Massachusetts. But it is the full combo for Pullout Couch, and it's a near close 1,000 for Bochi Cookie here. There is an opportunity for Carolina to come through and make this comeback if Massachusetts finds a silly mistake. But as we approach that final quarter, they're still being matched. It's still going in favor of Massachusetts. The final big jump section, the final opportunity for a miss. Will Massachusetts see top 8 again? It's a miss from Elsie.
Okay.
It's a miss from Raikik. And Carolina may be just looking at their first ever top 8 finish. It's Pullout Couch to break, though.
And that is the last full combo down for Carolina. Daitaku Helios, Luke, the one FC remaining in the lobby on the side of Massachusetts, keeping this score lead on their side. Breaks from the entire bottom row. It is Luke, and there goes Bochi Cookie as well. Everybody on Carolina down. The 3-way delayed reset for Carolina, and Massachusetts with the lone combo standing in the lobby. Daitaku Helios take a bow. This full combo guarantees the win for Massachusetts, knocks Carolina out in the top 12, and advances Massachusetts into the top 8 for the first time since 2022.
They are back in the game. Massachusetts, since the days of the original USC roster, has not seen a top 8. And they are finally back after all the roster switches, after years of heartbreak, and last year having to recover from a 2024 bottom 8 exit from the tournament, 25th to 32nd, boosting to 13th to 16th last year. Massachusetts holds on. They make it through on the back of an amazing Luke K full combo on the tiebreaker. 2,052 combo, 961K, and Carolina will unfortunately been sent packing once again. A singular match before top 8, and heartbreak strikes the South again.
It's an unfortunate loss there for Carolina. They exit top 12, once again falling just short of the top 8 they've been searching for so long. Top 24 the first 4 years of USA States Cup. Top 12 from 2021 to 2024. Top 16 last year and top 24 this year once again. A team that has underperformed their seeding the last now 5 years in a row, unfortunately for Carolina. And they are going to do that once again here. Seeding in USA States Cup, of course, is not done through qualifiers. It is done through average rank. But it is bittersweet for Carolina to have that high seeding and to then drop once again out in the top 12, not be able to make it into top 8, into top 6, where their seeding would project them in the bracket. Massachusetts, meanwhile, obviously going to be very, very happy with this finish. It has been 3 years since they even made it into the top 12 and 4 years since they made it into the top 8, as they have just now. So a massive congratulations to Massachusetts and commiserations to Carolina.
Something special about this Massachusetts roster. Those 3 swaps that they've made this year have clearly worked some magic. And, even from the days where Massachusetts was a top 3, winners semifinals contender, even all the way back to today, fighting through the losers bracket in valiant fashion. It's their captain to do it on tiebreaker, none other than Luke K. We saw heroics from Rykik. We saw heroics from LZ and multiple other players, but it's Luke K to get it done in the ending. And Carolina, it's been so nice to see them in United States Cup yet again. Again, commiserations, but it's so awesome to see them come out for this tournament every single year without fail, through the heartbreaks, through the amazing wins that they have put up over the years, and they have fought so hard to get to this point. Unfortunately for them, Massachusetts came out on top today, and our 11th seed makes it into the top 8. The 3rd team outside of the top 8 to make it through, by the way. That is Massachusetts, Oregon, 11th and 9th seed, and Oklahoma, our 10th seed, making it through into the top 8 teams in the tournament. So amazing work from absolutely all of them. Massachusetts will move on to face Oregon in the losers round 5, who sent Nevada, our 7th seed, packing 6-1 today with some of the highest scores of the weekend on this map pool. North California, Oklahoma set on the lower half of the bracket, and we're going to send you all up to the A stream as quick as possible, where South California versus New York is currently 4-3 in favor of New York on South California's pick, so that is going to be a close one that you do not want to miss.
Yeah, absolutely not. That winner's bracket match going on right now is a banger for sure. Thank you all very much for watching. Once again, congratulations to Massachusetts, commiserations to Carolina. Good luck to Massachusetts versus Oregon tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll see you there. And thank you all for watching. Let's go watch the winner's bracket match.